Alright, we're on to the final video of the install of a domain services for Windows Server. So this is it. This will be the last piece. This is verifying that it is all installed. So again, let's go back to our helpful TIDs on DSfW, and this is the TID number in case you can't find it. You should be able to Google it, like I said earlier, and come right to this. We want to go down to this verify a domain services for Windows install. So we'll go to this TID right here, and that is right there. Got it? So first thing, when I get done with running the provisioning wizard, I like to reboot the server one more time. Matter of fact, it's really, you need to do that in order for Kerberos to be coming up properly. Otherwise, there's a point in here where you're going to be doing a kinit administrator getting a ticket, and you will not be successful at getting a ticket. You'll usually get at least some Java errors or something related to Java. It looks like in finding the realm, and that won't be resolved unless you restart the server. Reloading the services just doesn't cut it. It used to, but not with OES11. So if you want, you can run this NDS path to export your paths. If you've restarted after the YAST piece, those paths should already be extended, so you'll be able to run NDS repair, NDS stat, and that information will come up. You can do a reload, like I said, or a restart. I would do a restart of the server. This sometimes you might need to do a NAM, an RC name D restart on a child domain. We've seen that happen before. Just a note in there. You can do an NDS stat just to make sure that the eDirectory is up. If you do this XAD validate, which I'll show you right here, let's do a clear this XAD CNTRL validate. So it goes through. Here is our tree name. This is basically doing an NDS stat. We can see the bind right here. This is the DNS section. All of this, we see that it's running, and then to go through each and every all the other services. So as you can see, DSfW is really, it's all of these services combined, working together, that provide this capability to act like a domain controller. Alright, let's go back to our TID. So we do, after the validate, you might want to just export this LDAP conf. That way you'll be able to run some LDAP searches. We'll do that right here. Paste it in. And if we do the LDAP searches, so LDAP search -y external, this is how we're binding, and it's due to this LDAP conf being exported that we're able to use the external method to bind. -LLL, we'll do a -q so we don't see the authentication method show up. A -b, well, actually, let's just first do a base of the root DSC -s base. This will give us some information about our domain. So we go right up to the top, go right all the way up here. Here we go, starting. So you can see we got some great information about our domain, what contexts are part of the domain. We can see B is a partition, it's part of the domain, and the naming context. This is where our O is mapped to. Again, more information, the different ports. You can see we've got a video on the ports with DSfW. You can go over that as well. So the LDAP extensions, and there's some controls also listed here that we can see what is supported. If you'd like to look those up, you can. It's all right there. The methods that we have for NMAS, the LDAP versions that it supports, some of the features, vendors Novell, of course. Here's our tree name. Again, just some more general information about the domain. It's all right here that we can go. So that starting off with that search is actually a pretty good idea to do as well, even though it's not in the TID. Next would be searching on a specific object. So in the TID, it talks about the administrator object. So we will do this. Let's just copy that, and it's talking about specifically the SAM account name. So we'll do that and put our domain name after the end, comma. We can do O equals novel since that object actually exists, or DC equals OES11, basically our domain name, DC equals LAN, in quotes, and we'll do a SAM account name. Here, let me do that up a little higher for you. Okay, there we go. We've got, so we can see that just returning just the SAM account name, we can see that that has been added. That means this user is, usually means that this user is provisioned. You can do that for other users as well. So we could do, so like user 1 exists. Hey, there's SAM account name for user 1. So if you've got a question about a user, SAM account name, and then supplemental credentials. Let's do that for administrator. That is dealing with the password. If nothing returns for supplemental credentials and the user cannot log in, if you're trying to get a user to log in, they can't log in, check for the supplemental credentials, SAM account name and supplemental credentials. If this one does not exist, you might want to check that a password policy is assigned. If it is assigned, have the user log in with the Novell client or do an NDS login from the server for that user, NDS login, and then just like a user1.novell. And once you log in, that will generate a supplemental credentials. So, matter of fact, let's just try that for. I don't think user 2 has user 2. Let's see if user 2 has one. No. Oh, let me user 2. See, no supplemental credentials. Let's do an NDS login for user 2. And again, supplemental credentials. And there you go. We can see that we have supplemental credentials. So if a user cannot log in, most likely just supplemental credentials or the SAM account name, since that is what is used during the login. So that's a good one to look at. Some other attributes that a user might have, I've got this that I can just kind of paste in here. We'll look at this real quick. You can see there's SAM account name, SAM account type, unique ID, unique number, UID, GID, object SID. It's all listed right here. These are specific for DSfW. GID and UID not necessarily, but you'll notice that it's not like a 600, 700, 800 number. It's much larger than that. That's how you know that this is a DSfW user. If it's not large, then most likely it's using the LUM that's is already assigned, and it's not using the LUM for DSfW as per se, the configuration for DSfW. So it really should have a large UID and GID number listed there. Unique domain ID, this number needs to be there. If you're having some issues, look on an object for the unique domain ID. So I've talked about this before, like the container where you're mapped to needs to have that unique domain ID. The domain controller object, really all objects in your domain should have that unique domain ID. If they don't, that can be a problem. That is the way that it determines if that object is within the domain or not, basically determining the domain boundary. So there we go, SAM account name, object with just some basic information. All right, that's dealing with our search. Let's look at our. We'll do the etc resolve. We just want to make sure that the DSfW server is still the first name server, which it is. So we're good with that. Back to the TID, the host file. We just want to make sure that that this is set up properly, and again, it has not changed, should not have changed. If it has, somebody's messing with your system because it shouldn't have changed. So if you check that before, you should be good. Next is the NS lookup for your domain. Let's just do that real quick. So this is a NS lookup, if I could spell, for our OES11.LAN, and we can see the name is returned and the address, which is the server. That's what you should be seeing right there when you do it. The other option is doing right here, doing this specific record. There's a few records. If you have a question on it, you can query that specific record. You should return that record, and the DSfW one is the server that's being returned. So that's the other NS lookup to do. Next, you'll want to grab a ticket, KNet administrator. You don't have to do the domain name at the end. You can. It should come up afterwards. If it doesn't, if it's incorrect, then put in the domain name. You'll know you'll succeed when you do that and you don't get an error. See, if you don't reboot the server after running the provisioning wizard, generally you'll get an error right there. So that will key us on to the next section where we can run our provisioning tool. So we'll do this with our domain name. Should return some information, the domain GUID. That's a way to determine that domain GUID. That should also be listed in the xad.ini file. There's some documents on that if you're interested in looking at the xad.ini file. Also on the actual container where you're mapped the domain to, that attribute should exist as well. So anyway, the provisioning tool, that's a good way to determine things are running right. Let's do this RPC client connection here and make sure that this is working. There you go. It says it's running. Beautiful. Looks great. And the last one, this is checking for NetBIOS, is running that. There it goes. It got it. So sometimes I've seen it do that a couple of times. Sometimes it's getting another ticket, doing the KNet administrator. Again, we'll get it to go. Again, I probably should have done the KNet administrator at OES11.LAN. Yeah, still cannot fulfill request option, but yet it does return it. I've seen, with the NetBIOS, sometimes I've seen a few little quirky things. Not as big. The first one, this right here, this is your key. You want this query RPC client connection to work. But anyway, this domain is good. I would say it's succeeded, ready to go. Another thing to look at when you're done with it is, if you're interested, you could go to the DSfWdo.com. Got some information as far as like the help list of the helpful TIDs right here. You can break it out by clicking here. So like this, eDirectory issues. This is shows you bugs that are resolved with specific eDirectory patches. It's right there. You can pop it out by clicking here as well. If you'd like to search on specific subjects, some categories, if you'd like to bring up something about CIFS, some videos talking about CIFS, it's all right there. Documentation, quick link to documentation, as well as this is an open book from O'Reilly. Goes to O'Reilly's site if you want to learn some Samba information in the archives. So returning back to DSfW, I hope this was helpful to you and that you learned something. And thanks for watching these videos.